to the X, from the Sixers to the Fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He wrote the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it, that's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin Show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
And good morning, as this is Saturday morning live. A lot of people already I see in the chat room there on the chat line already joined in. People now tell me where they're from. I have somebody. Where is it? I saw from Seattle. Well, anyway, good morning and welcome to the Howard Eskin Show as you're riding with the king on the first show after my 1-year anniversary. In the Philadelphia area, it's going to be the high is going to be in the mid-teens today, and it's going to be under 10 degrees tonight. That's in the Philadelphia area, but people are calling from all over. But even though it's cold, we still have a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about, and this show, as has been the case for months and months and months now, is presented by Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell knows his stuff, really does know his stuff. You want to invest in your future or your family's future, whoever's future. It's a good thing to talk to Jeff Stillwell. It really is. I'm going to tell you that right now. 732-343-0813. 732-343-0813. Remember that name, Jeff Stillwell, and remember Stillwell Financial Advisors. All right. As I said, we have people, and now they let me know where they're listening from, which is I guess kind of cool. I saw somebody stay in my lanes, always listening from Arizona. Maxie for MVP is listening. He must be visiting Las Vegas. I don't know if he's a Philadelphian or not. Maverick 1436 listening from Seattle. We have who was that? Lyndon G 9734 from the Catskills. It's cold. What do you think? It's going to be warmer in the Catskills than it is here. New York City. I think James Deck One, whatever. James is listening from New York City, but we have people from all over that listen to the show. Tarpon Springs, Florida. So we have people from Florida, Washington, D.C. What's it? Waco. These names. And Patty's listening from Abington. So it's all right. We have a listener from Palm Beach, a viewer and a listener from Palm Beach. Clearwater checking in, high of 72 today. Don't remind people here. South Carolina on a cruise ship off of South Carolina. Wow. North Carolina. We have people from all over. Greetings from, it looks like Puerto Rico. It's just, wow, Maryland. I listen from Delco. It's great. From White Marsh. Okay. It's great. Bishopsville, Maryland. I don't even know where Bishopsville, Maryland is. But anyway, a lot of people listening. a couple of people from Puerto Rico, but we have a lot. We do have a lot to talk. A lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. Marc Lawrence will join us to take a look at the Super Bowl and some of the prop bets that he likes. It's you and me today for the most part. I really want to hear what you think about what's going on with the Eagles. And really, if you're not concerned, then you're delusional. If you're not concerned about the Eagles, two of the important coaches, and you can say what you want about Kevin Patullo, it was not his fault, but you changed the offensive coordinator, and thus you ended up changing, or they didn't change on their own. Jeff Stoutland obviously didn't like the changes. I say obviously didn't like the changes, and they took away some of his responsibilities, so he's gone. That's not going to help. So it's a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach, new coaches on the offense. Stout out. Jeff Stoutland is out. I see a message here. They're imploding. I don't know if they're imploding, but they have it's too many changes. There's too many changes for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl this year. There's too many changes. And who the hell knows what the offensive line is going to be about. But I'm going to talk about the Phillies because pitchers and catchers report next week. The Sixers, we're going to talk about the biggest con man in the NBA. The biggest con man. Who would you think that is? It just see somebody, Lane and Dickerson, potentially retiring. I'm going to talk about that and what I've heard about those things too. But first, I want to tell you about some other important people that are part of the Howard Eskin Show, and they're riding with the king too. One of those would be Thomas Chevrolet. Great people, family business, so many good things going on there, and so many good vehicles. They're our newest sponsor, but I don't know that I guess they're still new because they're our newest sponsor. They're located at 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media. Remember that. They're a family-owned business. Remember that. And you can tell they're family-owned when you walk in and the family is there, every day, helping run that business. 38 years in the business, and that's a big celebration for Thomas Chevy. Good people, straight deals, no need to haggle or hassle on the price of a new vehicle. Whether it's a Corvette, Equinox, and I'm driving the Equinox now, and I saw that in the Consumer Reports, Equinox is one of the tops in the country, and I guess that's in the world because there's foreign and American cars. Equinox, big time car, and I'm really enjoying it. Silverado, Traverse, Tahoe, Corvettes. If you like a Corvette, Thomas Chevrolet is a certified Corvette specialist dealer. And another thing that they do, other than, as you see, you have a chance to get up to $14,000 in savings. That's available. 0% APR for up to 60 months. That's available. But their service department, if you don't want to drive to whatever dealership you have, or you don't, or it's too far to drive wherever you get your service, Thomas Chevrolet has a service department that works on all makes and models. Tops in the tri-state area. Thomas Chevy. Great selection of new and a great selection of pre-owned vehicles as well. 1263 Baltimore Pike. Here's a number, 610-566-8600, or check them out at thomaschevy.com. Also, Piazza Property Pros. You want to design or create a design for your property, that's what they can do. They sit there and they sit in front of the computer and you look at different ways to enhance your backyard or your front yard. They can turn your vision into a reality. You can have a dream backyard. You can have that. Now is the time. I say now, even though I know it's cold and it's still February, but February is the time you start planning for this summer. Piazza Property Pros. And if you're thinking about a pool, I wouldn't hesitate if I were you. 25 years of experience. That's important. They don't subcontract. That's important. Top-notch craftsmen. That's important. It's their own skilled team. Trust Piazza Property Pros. Exceptional results. Give them a call. 610-566-2608. You can schedule a free consultation. That's 610-566-2608. Or check them out. I just dropped something here. Hold on for 1 second. Check them out at Piazza Property Pro or at piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. Let's get into the meat of what we're going to talk about today. Daryl, I see a comment. Daryl Morey, Dave Dombrowski. Who's worse? They both suck. I got to admit, neither one of them has done anything. It's just neither one of them has done anything. But Daryl Morey is a con man, and we're going to get to him. But first, the Eagles. I asked you a question, and I want answers. I want answers. Are you or how concerned? Are you concerned? Yeah, you have to be concerned. The Eagles, they had their Super Bowl runs, and sometimes there's a down period. You can say what you want. The offensive line, all right, let's deal with Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson. I'm told Lane Johnson's coming back. Even though Stoutland's not here, Lane Johnson's going to come back. I don't know how many more years he's going to play, and you don't know whether he's going to get hurt again. He's coming back. Landon Dickerson was so banged up. I mean, he made a lot of money. Is he going to come back and go through the agony of every game where he's banged up and he's hurt and he's tough? And even if he comes back, neither one of those guys are going to be able to play at the level they used to play. The center, Cam Jurgens, had a tough year. Had a tough year because he had some injuries. Is he going to be the same? Jordan Mailata, it was good, but not as good as he was. And maybe not good enough in some cases. Their offensive line, and without is going to be a little bit of an issue, I think. And without Stoutland, that won't help. And the new Sean Mannion, I don't care who they bring in and what they do. It's not going to be the same without Jeff Stoutland. So, how concerned are you? How concerned are you? Not are you concerned? I know you're concerned. So I want to talk about that. Phillies pitchers and catchers report this week. Here's another team. What did the Philly? I love at the Philadelphia Sports Writers Dinner. I think Joe Conklin rode Rob Thompson, and he's a comedian, so it's all in jest, right? At the Philadelphia Sports Writers, because Rob Thompson was there. And I saw a comment he made. We had 96 wins last year. We brought back Schwarber and JT Realmuto. Well, you had to bring them back. But think about this. Is Schwarber going to be as good or have as good a year as he had last year? Phillies are going to run it back again. And as Rob Thompson said, they're not the same team. They brought those two guys back, and they did what else did they? He named some middle relievers. Who knows how effective Wheeler's going to be, which is not the Phillies' fault, and it's not his fault, but who knows how effective he's going to be. And I would be really, really shocked if he starts the season and pitches at the start of the season. I would be really shocked. And Pedro Martinez, and somebody brought this up, had the same injury, and he lost 10 miles off his fastball. Is Wheeler the same pitcher? If, in fact, that happens, Phillies are, Rob, you're right. They're not running back the same team. They're running back a team that's not as good. Guy in right field's going to strike out a ton of times, but the Phillies aren't unhappy with that because analytics say that's all right. The sad part is they had a window for the World Series And I don't think that window exists anymore. I don't. The Sixers, I didn't expect them to make any trades that made them better. Um, um, I just don't. Uh, they're not going to be better. And Daryl Morey made some comments, and I'm going to get to Daryl Morey later. What a fraud! What a fraud! And he is he. I'll tell you what he does really well. He can conduit the best of them. That 31-minute news conference after the trade deadline was over was an absolute snooze fest. It was, and it was total bullshit. It's just, I mean, total BS. It was just unbelievable. All right, let's hear. George always chimes in. By the way, I'm going to say something. I'm going to give you the reason why the Sixers, as long as they have Paul George and Joel Embiid, will never get to the finals with those two people. All right. Is George there, Joe? All right. Let's hear from George. George, all right. I'm going to start with these questions. Okay. How concerned are you about the Eagles?
Very.
Okay. Has the Phillies window for a World Series, is that gone?
Yes.
Okay. Will the Sixers ever come close to winning a championship as long as Paul George and Embiid are on this basketball team?
No.
Okay. So yeah, all you have left is the Flyers, and they need a score. I'm telling you, they do play hard, but they can't score. They can't score, and that's a problem.
It's depression right now, Howard. It's depression right now. The sports in Philly is depression. What do we have to look forward to? I mean, I talk about Dombrowski, didn't like what he did, and Morey, I don't have a comment. He's an absolute joke. He could sell snake. He's a snake oil salesman. It's unbelievable.
No, you know what? I wouldn't buy snake oil from him.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Because I know I'd be conned. How about this guy? Never won anything. Got a job with the Sixers, and then he conned that owner that has no clue about sports, totally clueless about sports. By the way, mentioned in the Epstein files, I saw a report. Well, there's like hundreds of emails of him in the Epstein files, which it's amazing. And there's a report that he made at least one trip to Epstein Island. It's just, hey, the Epstein situation is not funny, and the way this country covers it and tries to cover it up is disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. But other than that, it's so I see a comment here. Morey is a stone cold stiff. Yeah, well, he is. Other than that, what's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Well, yeah, it's like a therapy session right now. Yeah, I got my yes or no questions. I was, after this week with Stoutland, I was just like, what is going on down there? And once the organization that everybody talked about, that being the strongest in probably sports, and in Philly, there's cracks.
Well, wait a minute. Strongest in Philadelphia sports, you're saying?
Yeah, but he gets a lot. They get a lot of praise outside of Philly. Me being outside of Philly, I mean, everybody's
well, that's because the media just just climbs on. And hey, listen, Howie Roseman has done a good job, but there's cycles. And you can't, it's really, really hard to keep that cycle up. Now, has he made some mistakes? Sure. Has he made some really good decisions? Yes. But he had the players, and he had an offensive line that was the best in football. And Jordan Mailata was what, a 6th or 7th round pick. So they got lucky there. And Stoutland developed him into a player. Lane Johnson was here. Chip Kelly made that pick, although that's not the guy he wanted. The guy he wanted was a pick before him. So Cam Jurgens was his pick and had a really good year one year. He's made some, traded for A.J. Brown, drafted Devontae Smith, who I think he's the best receiver on the team. But that being the case, so he's made some good decisions, and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, really good picks. And he's had some bad signings and some players that he couldn't sign. So, but the national media kind of and how he's nice to the national media. I think that helps a little bit. But whatever, they've done a good job, and I think the head coach is a good head coach. But it's just they have some issues now. They have some
Stoutland
issues.
under contract? How many years under contract is it? Because I hear here, man. I mean, New York, man, they're going crazy. They want him. They want Stoutland as their offensive line.
Oh, let me tell you something. If in fact he wants to go somewhere else, that they can't stop him. And then now they may ask for it and then say no, and then you're only hurting Jeff Stoutland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we might see him up in New York then.
I don't know that he'll go there that quickly. Although, let me see, he was not here when John Harbaugh was here. So if he knows Harbaugh, it's only through being a coach, not because they work together. Harbaugh was gone before Stoutland got to the Eagles. So he doesn't know him. So, but the Giants are going to be better. I don't even know how much of the staff Harbaugh has filled. I know he got the offensive coordinator, got a good offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy for sure.
Got Greg Roman too.
And what is he, the coach? What was his
consultant quarterbacks? I forget the title they gave them, but they got him this week, and I'm like, holy cow!
Jackson Dart's going to be a very good quarterback as long as he stays healthy.
Yep. I agree. I right now, I told a friend of mine who's a Giant fan, guy's going to win the division.
I'm going to say this now. I don't think the Eagles are going to win the division, and that's just history.
Correct.
It's history. Players have played a lot of games over the last few years. They got players that have gotten older. I don't know how they can make this offensive line as good to be that good. It's just it's going to be tough. And now I don't know who's going to win the division, but to win it 3 years in a row, when teams hadn't won it for 2 straight years in 2021 years, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Then we got the Phillies coming up. Holy cow!
How about that? You have 162 games to wait for them to get beat in the playoffs. Think about that. You play too long a season, play 162 games, and there'll be some good and some really exciting games, and I get that. But 162 games, well, I say to watch them get beat in the playoffs. I think we may have talked about this. Do you think the Phillies have a better chance of finishing first in the division or third in the division?
I told you he was going to win the division. I think they have a better shot of finishing third. I think the Atlanta Braves win the division.
Atlanta and the Mets are both good this year.
I mean, I think Atlanta wins it. I've been saying that. People say, you're crazy. No, I'm not crazy. They had a bad year last year. Notoriously, they're a good organization. They're better than the Phillies.
Hey, George, have an exciting sports year, brother.
We got you for therapy, brother. We got you for therapy.
Hey, one last question. I don't have a lot of energy. I know it's a Super Bowl. I don't have a lot of energy for this Super Bowl. Do you have a lot of energy for the Super Bowl? You'll watch it because it's a football game.
I have more energy to watch the Puppy Bowl before the game than I do.
Well, the one thing I wouldn't watch is the Pro Bowl because it's not a Pro Bowl, because it's not Pro Bowlers, because most of the guys aren't Pro Bowlers. They're taken because the other people have declined for whatever reason. And I'd rather watch a schoolyard game.
I posted on the chat line, and I didn't want to offend the ladies. I said I'd rather watch women's touch football or lingerie. Remember that lingerie league?
Yeah,
I mean, that's better football. I was being sarcastic, but why would I watch touch football for the Pro Bowl? You're wasting our time.
Yeah,
your time.
So you don't have a lot of energy for the Pro Bowl, then? Is that what you're? No, not for the Pro Bowl. I mean for the Super Bowl.
Second of it, I didn't even
for the Super Bowl. For the Super Bowl.
You know what? I'm going to watch it. I just don't have the energy. I don't know if it's the teams or it's nothing there.
I tell you, if you couldn't bet on the Super Bowl in a bunch of different ways, they'd have almost nobody watching. But it's all the bets. It's all the bets. Prop bets, bets on the game. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
And I'm sure we'll hear about all the prop bets from Mark because he has plenty of those, and I like listening to his prop bets.
Yeah, we'll have them. All right. Hey, have a great weekend.
You too. Stay warm.
Yeah, I know that's going to be hard to do. I see a message here on the chat line. Professor Eskin rocking the Goldie Beacom hoodie. I'm not a professor. I'm a doctor. I'm a PhD. See, there it is, the Goldie Beacom PhD. I got my doctorate. It's my diploma's there in the background. Yeah, I'm a doctor. I got my doctorate at Goldie Beacom College in Wilmington, Delaware. Great place. Tuitions are under 15,000. How do tuitions under 15,000 a year? It's amazing. When all these other schools, the Villanovas, like 90,000. It's just I don't mean to single out Villanova because there's many schools like that. We got to do something about that. But nonetheless, all right, let's take a look at the Super Bowl, the weekend in football, and we'll get a couple of basketball games. And to help us do that will be is Marc Lawrence. Marc, how are you this morning?
I'm just fantastic, Howard. How are you?
I'm a little colder than you are in Florida. It's going to be under 10 degrees tonight in here, and it's going to be a high in like 15 today in the Philadelphia area. So it's a little cold here.
The only reason I'm wearing a jacket, Howard, unlike you're wearing a sweatshirt, is that not because it's cold down here, it's because it's Super Bowl weekend. Okay. That's the only reason.
Okay. All right. So it's I made the point. I don't have a lot of energy for the Super Bowl. And if people couldn't bet on this year's Super Bowl, if people couldn't bet on it, I wonder how many people would even watch. And the fact that they bet all these prop bets, there's so many. There's probably at least, depending on the sports books, probably at least 100, right? At least 100 prop bets on this game available to you.
Well, times 20. Okay. There's like 2,000 prop bets.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really? Oh, my
Yes.
God.
But, all different various scoring, who does, who doesn't, how many points are going to be scored, how many are not, how many turnovers, interceptions, yada, yada, yada. And it all goes back to my good friend Jake Cornegay from the Westgate Superbook, who back in the day, he used to run the Imperial Sportsbook in Las Vegas, and he made his name by creating props for Super Bowls. And he's since then become the godfather of props. And the Superbook puts out their props every year, and they're the first guys to put out just a volume of props each and every year, and they've done it again this year.
All right. I don't know what we should start with, the game or the props. Let's start with the prop bets, and then we'll get
because
to the
you know
game.
something, Howard? The books in Vegas or the books anywhere, legal books, they take more money on props in the Super Bowl game than the Super Bowl game itself. That's
But
how.
if you're going to bet the props, you got to bet the game too, right?
Yeah, you
gotta
do,
bet-
but
yeah.
but their take is going to be much, much larger on the props.
Oh yeah, because there's so many of them.
Yes.
All right. So, what are props that you like for this game? Prop bets.
Well, there's a couple, two or three, and I'll preface this by saying I'm not a big prop guy, but you're always looking to try and get an edge, and it's difficult because the hold, what they call the hold, that's the vigorous that the bookmakers take on these props. When you bet a football game, you're risking 11 to win 10, but the take on these props from the books in these Super Bowl games is enormous. It's minus $1.50 and minus $1.40, so they're making like 4 or 5 times the hold on these props. So they invite all these props, and that's the reason there are so many. So you have to be careful. One rule of thought is you do not. Almost 90% of people bet yes on props because they want action. Will this happen? Yes. Will that happen? Yes. How many points will be scored? Over. And the keen props players in Vegas are the guys that bet no and under. That's just to start the whole prop thing. So if you end up drowning in the prop world in the Super Bowl, it's because you most likely ended up betting yeses and overs in Super Bowls.
It's almost like you don't even care who wins, because if you're going to be successful and obviously be a winner rather than a loser, you're going to have to win most of your prop bets or win one that just jumps out at you at a high odds number.
Right, and that one can carry you. You can make all kinds of mistakes, and if
Right.
you hit the one, you're good. But you had better hit the one. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, betting the coin flip. I mean, it has nothing to do with It has nothing to do with.
What edge is there, Howard, in betting a coin flip?
I don't know. It's like because you get a bet before the game even starts. I
I
mean,
guess.
that's well. Now, actually, your bet before the game even starts is how long the national anthem is. I don't know that many people put that up anymore because people listen outside the stadium the day before to the rehearsal of the national anthem, and then they time it.
Yeah,
So
with their stopwatches, right?
yeah, right. I don't know. I know people that did that, and I don't know if there's a prop bet on that anymore. But if
Well,
that was
there
the
is, but you know what it is in the legal U.S. sports books, there are not because by rule in Nevada and the legal sports books, all props have to be determined by the result on the playing field,
oh,
not like
okay.
the length of like you say, the length of a national anthem or the color of the Gatorade, but it has to be determined on the playing field, and that's the rule when it comes to props being legal in Nevada and these legal sports books.
Well, a coin flip is not. It's on the play, so it's determined on the playing
I guess
field.
because the coin falls on the field.
On the field. Okay. All right. So what are some of the props that you like?
Well, my number one top prop that I like the best is will there be a pass for the first play in the second half? And I've played this 5 years in a row. I've won 5 years in a row. And you say no to that because these teams go to the locker room. The coaches make adjustments, which they're keen at doing. That's why they're there. And
Uh,
these adjustments are almost always a different game plan in the second half. So they come out with a different game plan, and when they do, they want to assert that game plan. So they
mhm.
generally always start out conservative with a run, and they don't want to risk an interception or a pass on the first play. So you bet no, there will not be a pass, and that's like plus 110. So you get a little bit of money back for that, but it's a prop that you have to look at. No rush or no pass on the first play of the second half.
Not every sports book. I guess you got to search around because not every
You have to look
sports book,
hard, yes.
yeah, to find that prop. But there's different props, I guess, for different sports books. But they love it because they just get so much money taken in, and there's probably limits on some of them. You're not going to bet $100,000 the big players on a prop bet. I wouldn't think that they're going to bet $100,000.
No, they're not going to put themselves in harm's way, with one play that can wipe out their prop day. So you're going to be limited for sure, like you say.
Okay, so what else do you like? So that's your
Uh,
best prop bet.
well,
Okay.
that's my favorite prop. That's the one I like.
All right.
There's one that had worked 19 years in a row. We talk about this every year until it didn't win last year. So now all of a sudden it's 19-1. And it is basically will the team that scores last in the Super Bowl win the Super Bowl? It did not work last year, but it had won 19 years in a row previously. So if you want to come back and say that it's going to get back on track this year, you would say to that prop, the team that scores last will win the Super Bowl. But the problem is it's a very, very popular prop. It got real hot because of the win streak. And while it opened up at minus 180 this year, it's up to like minus 300 right now because it gets bet heavily.
So if
So
you
if you're,
if you bet for the last team to score to win the game,
yes,
you got to lay 3-1.
you got to lay upwards or close to 3-1. Right now, I've seen anywhere from minus 240 to 280, which means by Super Bowl Sunday it will be minus $3. Yes.
That's not a good percentage bet
No.
anyway.
I wouldn't bet $3 if I knew the result of the game. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't
No,
risk that.
not 3-1. It's like baseball where you got to live in, most when you have odds that are high and you lose, so, they're going to, I'm going to bet this pitcher. Yeah, and you're going to lay 2-1. But if he loses, now you got to win two games. Actually, two games doesn't even break you even because you're paying the juice too. So
Exactly.
yeah. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable.
Another
All right.
popular prop I think people are looking at and talking about in Vegas this year is will both teams combined rush for 224 and a half rushing yards? And they're betting under on that. There will not be a total of 225 rushing yards combined between the two teams. And I don't know what the reason or the logic what they do other than studying all the numbers and all the attempts by the running backs and the plays and evaluating all that stuff. But Vegas is betting heavily right now as we're speaking on it being under 224 combined rushing yards. I can't see whether I like it or I don't, but I'm just letting you know what's hot in Vegas right now.
You know what? I kind of like the under because you figured both teams have good defenses.
Yes, they do.
So, and but if you're going to do that and you're going to think that's going to be the case, then you probably have to bet the over in pass attempts. Would I be correct in thinking
Yeah,
thinking that way?
if you're correct on one theory or thought, you'd probably want to roll the dice and hit a home run with it. And if you do, then you're going to go to the over on the passing yards. Yes.
And the odds aren't that high when you take the over on passing yards because you're just making, you're making a bet. I don't even know what the odds are on the over for passing yards. You just take the over under, but there still is a little bit of a, I guess, odds number on something like that.
Well, there's another prop out there, Howard, that I talked with you about maybe earlier on in the week, and I think if you think this through, I think it's logically sound, and it could be that big payday that everybody looks for. My theory or thought is that since they redid the NFL kickoff rule, and now they attempt to return kickoffs. Before it was just taking a knee in the end zone out to the 35-yard, and here we go. Now they're returning touchdown or returning kickoffs 75% of the time. They're returning kickoffs now, as opposed to less than 25% before the rule. So if now that means that they're going to return 3 times as many kickoffs as they did before in the past, and if you want to venture out and say, yes, there will be a kickoff return for a touchdown, you would get plus 1,800 for your dollar, which is a pretty nice score. So that's the one prop I would go out on a limb on and take a look at. Yes, there will be a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Okay. What else do you like?
Well, there's also a prop out there, which, we talked a little bit about the prop in the first half, and there's a lot of combined props that they're doing and things. Will there be, for the two teams combined, will the longest score in the touchdown be or will Seattle have the longest score in a touchdown? Let me go there. Will Seattle have the longest score for a touchdown in the Super Bowl game? The word to that is yes, and it's minus 150. And the reason that it's yes is that Njigba, their receiver, his longest receiving touchdown prop is 27.5 yards.
Right.
Shaheed is 14.5. Walker to run the football as a rush is 14.5. On the other side, you look at Booty and Diggs, their wide receivers are 17.5 each, and Hollins is 14.5. So you do the math, and you've got quite an edge to Seattle for the longest scoring touchdown in the football game, and that might be worth laying $1.50 with.
All right. So how many, I guess there's no limit to what the percentages are when you bet so many props. It's almost, if you bet too many props, it's almost like you're going to have trouble. You're going to have fun. And as long as you don't get crazy with how much you bet on each prop, you're not going to get crushed if you don't win a lot of those props.
That's a great point you bring out, Howard, because it goes to the theory of basically elementary handicapping. And you don't want to reach into your pocket and expose as much as you possibly have to, because if you do all these props and you ultimately end up taking a good prop and then betting other bad props, you're giving your good prop away by betting these bad, stupid other props. So you're just defeating yourself. So I would just isolate on, 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 top props and see if if you have the edge and your judgment works that way. But people make major mistakes, like you say, of getting too knee deep in betting the props.
Okay. So now let's look at the game. Seattle is still 4.5 and the total is 45.5. And it's kind of sat there all week. It's really not moved from the way it opened, the way I saw it. Is that correct?
Correct, and which means that they've made a good number on the football game, which is what they ideally look to do, because they're going to base the job they did on what the closing line in the game is. And there's probably a real good chance the closing line on this game will also be 4.5. So if there isn't a lot of movement, it doesn't put bookmakers or odds makers in jeopardy of being middled in the football game or being two-sided in the football game. So yes, I think it is going to close at 4.5, although personally, I think it's too many points, but that's the job they did, and they did a good job because it's being bet both ways.
So you like New England then plus the 4.5?
I like New England plus the 4.5. A couple of reasons. One thing that I love to do statistically is I'll weigh each and every team about how they perform offensively and defensively, yards allowed and yards gained. And when you find an underdog in any football game that has the better offense and the better defense, and they're the underdog, my rule is you better play the underdog. And that's what New England brings to the table here. They actually have the better offense, they have the better defense, and they are the underdog in the football game.
Okay, being the team, usually the point spread doesn't figure in to your bet in the Super Bowl, correct? So if that's the case, you'd probably bet not as a parlay, but bet both New England with the points and New England with the money line. And the money line is probably not that great, but you're probably going to get what, 130? Is that what the money line is right now?
Well, you're going to get more than that for a 4.5 point dog.
Oh, okay.
You're going to probably get New England plus $3, okay, for a 4.5 point.
Oh, really?
Dog.
So
Yes,
why wouldn't you bet?
$3.
Why wouldn't you bet both then? Why wouldn't you bet
Well,
both?
because basically you can spread your bet out that way, but you're better off saving a bet and betting a money line to a favorite than you are to an underdog, rather than taking more money, taking a bigger haul with the underdog on the money line. You can save yourself by betting a favorite if you like the favorite on a money line.
If you like the favorite,
And all they have to do is win the game, and you don't get nipped by the spread. That's all.
Okay, and the total. So if you think it's going to be a good defensive game, and if you think New England's going to win, it's probably going to be by the underdog winning a lower score. You would take the under, correct?
Correct, and that's exactly what I'm playing is New England and the under here, and that it also goes hand in hand with most people who bet football games. When they bet games, they'll bet the favorite and they'll bet the over. Every bookmaker knows that, and that's what they expect. Bet the favorite, bet the over. But a lot of the sharp people in Vegas are the guys that look for the underdogs and the unders in football games. People don't bet unders, Howard, because they're impatient. They don't want to have to sit the whole game and wait for an under result to have to happen. When they bet an over, it could cash in the third quarter and they're out of the game. But they want to see action. And the reason I'm going to the under here is New England's done something that only 16 other teams in the Super Bowl have ever done in history. And that is throughout the course of these playoffs this year, they've allowed less than 10 points a game in these playoffs. And there's other 16 teams that did just that. They won 14 of those 16 Super Bowls and won the money 14 times as well. So you've got a strong New England scoring defense here. You've got good defenses on both sides. You have to look at the under in the game as well.
Yeah, and the only thing that I worry about with New England, now both quarterbacks are playing in their first Super Bowl, but Sam Darnold's been in the league for quite a while, for 5 years? It's his fifth year. May has only been there. What's this? His second year? It's his second year.
Yes.
I'm telling you, when you walk out on the field, you tighten your rear end tightens up so much because all of a sudden it's the Super Bowl. So if he can overcome that, then that's fine. But that's the thing that would worry me about him.
Well, my answer to that is this, Howard, is that he just lost the league's MVP vote by the tightest margin in MVP voting history. He is very talented, okay? I think his athleticism will win out over his knees knocking going onto the field.
Okay. All right. Basketball today, college basketball, either today or this weekend. Who do you like? Do you have a couple of games?
Yeah, there's a couple of games here. Number one, I'm going to look at BYU at home against Houston. A very, very strong home court there for Brigham Young. They're taking 1.5 points, the underdog. But what we're doing is we're fading Houston off their 20th win of the season. And that's a plateau that most college basketball teams hit when they win that 20th, and the next game they're favored against an opponent that is looking to avenge a loss. They really struggle on the road, which is Houston doing just that here. Give me BYU, who Houston knocked out of the conference tournament last year, by the way, so they have an extra incentive in this contest. I like BYU plus the 1.5 in this basketball game. And there's another game also on the card. You're taking a look at George Washington against Duquesne. That's kind of a nondescript game.
Yes,
but
it is.
It's still the same factor. George Washington having been knocked out of the tournament by Duquesne, the better basketball team. They're not getting many points, but there's a reason that they're not getting many points is because they're the better team. So give me George Washington against Duquesne and give me BYU. And I'm going to throw this out there for Monday because this is, I think, a special looking play on Monday. Kansas is going to host Arizona on Monday. Arizona is going to come in there 23-0 undefeated, and they knocked Kansas out of the Big 12 tournament last year. And if you look at Kansas at home, where they've been ferocious, when they host teams that are undefeated, they are 35-2 outright on their home court. I think Kansas wins a big revenge game on Monday as well.
All right. I saw something because I had John Calipari on this week as a guest, and they didn't play for a week. Is that a good thing? I think they played it. Does Arkansas play today?
Yes. And is it a good thing? No, it's not a good thing because you're not as crisp and you're not sharp and you're not in game form. Too many things can happen that are out of the coach's ability to be able to rein these players in. I don't like playing teams that are rested for more than a week. You'll sometimes get that in conference tournaments where teams are seeded number one and they get to sit out on the play-in games, the round one, what they call donkey games, and before that number one seed takes the floor a week later, they tend to be rusty, and I think it applies in this regular season as well.
Who does Arkansas play? I'm looking for the game. I didn't realize. Who does Arkansas play today? Do you?
Let me take a look here.
I can't. They must play tonight because I'm going through the whole schedule here, and it wouldn't shock me because Arkansas. It's probably a good game if they had a week off. They scheduled one of their tougher teams, and well, whatever. But so you would, just by rule, you would not take Arkansas, even though they've had a week off. You would not.
By rule, I would not do that. There's too many days off, and I'm sure Calipari has a little bit of concern or question about that himself as well.
Yeah, it's just, but they have a lot to do with their schedule. I don't know why they had a week off. I didn't even ask them why they had a week off, but they have a lot to do with scheduling. All these coaches at major schools, but it's probably I would think it's probably an SEC. It's probably
it'll be an SEC game for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If people have interested in your services, Mark, 800-321-77. It's driving me crazy that they play now. I'm going to have to find this. There's too many damn college basketball.
They're
games.
at Mississippi State. It looks like they're at Mississippi State. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's right. They're on the road. Yeah, they're on the road.
And they'll be road chalk. Yes.
So they're probably favored on the road.
Yes, they will be.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. 800-321-7777 and on the internet at playbooksports.com. Mark, you have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And as far as you're concerned, go Patriots. In Philadelphia, we just don't like the Patriots. And there's no reason. There's no reason to like the Patriots. There's not. They're cheaters. They think they're entitled to everything. Bob Kraft, I don't give a damn that he didn't make the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. Owners don't normally get in that many owners anyway. And Bill Belichick, I'm glad he didn't make it on the first ballot. He'll be in there. But without Tom Brady, he's just another coach. All right, so let's get over all that.
Let me say one thing before I get out of here, Howard. I was sitting waiting, listening to George, who's an excellent guest, and you're talking about I think it was the Phillies. How long will it be before the Phillies win again? And you said we got to go 162 games, and it kind of hit me like my hometown Cleveland Browns. They had to go 62 football games between playoff appearances. And we had to do it all in the cold weather, George. So don't be too disappointed about the Phillies. If it doesn't happen this year, it could happen the next year.
Well, you're going to die a slow death, but I don't know that they still have to figure out their quarterback situation, and you can't win without a quarterback. So I don't know that it's going to make any difference without a quarterback. So good luck on another, 17 games now?
Yeah.
They don't send them overseas because people don't even pay attention to the Cleveland Browns overseas. All right. Hey, Mark, have a great weekend.
Enjoy the game hard. Be well. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Right, bye-bye.
It's just amazing. The Cleveland Browns. There's some teams you can love them, but they never win for you. Now, you can't say that about the Phillies. They've only won, 2 World Series in their history. And that's not a good record. And the last time they won, what was it, 2008? But so it's been a long time. But think about the Jets. The Jets won a Super Bowl in 1969, and they haven't been back since. Think about that. The Cleveland Browns. Have the Cleveland Browns been to the Super? I don't even remember whether the Cleveland Browns have been to the Super Bowl. Well, whatever. I'm not going to worry about the Cleveland Browns. But what I am going to remember is our presenting sponsor, and that would be Jeff Stillwell, because Stillwell Financial Advisors does a terrific job with handling and managing and helping you for your future with your wealth. 732-343-0813. Jeff Stillwell, I mean, if you guys can hit it off, I know you'll like the guy because he's a really good guy. It'll be fun for you. It'll be fun to set yourself up for your future. Stillwell Financial Advisors, Jeff Stillwell, 732-343-0813. All right. I'm going to, a couple of things we've got to take care of. On our 1-year anniversary prize pack, last week, the question was, John Calipari got fined once in the NBA. How much was the fine? And we had multiple people with the correct answer. And Robert Simon, you win our prize pack, the hat trick of Flyers autographs, some of the greats, Ron Hextall, Tim Kerr, Rick Tocchet. And then you have a Gartland collectible figurine statue of Wayne Gretzky. That's a collectible, limited edition. And then you have a gift certificate from Maroney Custom Clothing, where I get my suits and my shirts custom made. He does a great job. And then you also have a pair of Oakley sunglasses. Robert, you are the winner of that prize pack on my 1 year, that multiple prize pack on the 1 year anniversary, and congratulations on that. We will have a question. At the end of this show, or towards the end of this show, so you can win a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. Enter your answer through my contact page at howardeskin.com by midnight Tuesday, February 10th. And on Wednesday, February 11th, on the show, 7:30, which you can see live as you're watching now, either on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You subscribe to YouTube and you're notified as soon as the show comes on. The winner will be randomly chosen from all the correct entries. I will have that shortly. All right. There's some things. I've touched on the Eagles. I've touched on the Phillies. If people want to join, the link is up. The Phillies pitchers and catchers report this week. Is there much confidence on the Phillies getting to the World Series? I'm just saying getting to the World Series. I don't have much confidence. I don't think they're. I don't think there's a good chance. I do not think there's a good chance of the Phillies getting to the World Series this year. Do we have somebody? Do we have somebody on the line here that we can have join the show? I don't know if somebody's there or not. If somebody's on the line, Joe, if he's there, put him up. If not, I lost my connection with my producer, but that's all right. It's just, there's so many things that go on with electronics these days. It's absolutely crazy. Let me just try something here. There we go. Joe, do we have anybody on the line? Okay. Oh, okay. So, all right. So we won't do that. All right. The Sixers, I really do. Let's break this down. Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey made some. It was a snooze fest. His news conference was a snooze fest. Joe's here. Well, all right, before we get to Joe, I want to mention something before I play something that Daryl Morey said. He trades McCain, and he said, yeah, he thought it was a good deal for the Sixers because they got draft picks and built for the future. They got a first-round pick that's going to be a second-round pick because it's Oklahoma City's first-round pick, which is going to be near the end, near the end of the first round. So that's not a big deal. Sixers don't do a good job with draft picks. Second-round picks are a waste. They're just for trades. They're not for players, and who knows what trade you're going to get. It's just, do you really trust this team? That's the problem. Do you really trust this team? It's just, and then a playoff run. Think about this. If the Sixers would make the finals, and to win a championship is literally, I think, impossible for the 76ers, as long as Paul George and Embiid are here. You have to play 28 games in approximately 3 weeks. Now, with all the games these guys take off, how can this team play 28 games and be there for 28 games with the players they hope to have? I just, in 3 weeks. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. All right. Before we get to, I think there's somebody on the line, I want to tell you about some other partners of ours. And one of those would be somebody that really, I'm really impressed with the way they run their business. And that's Thomas Chevrolet, 1263 West Baltimore Pike, family-owned business. And you can tell it's family-owned just by it's just a different vibe when you walk in there. It really is a different vibe. They're celebrating 38 years of business, great people, straight deals. You don't have to hassle haggle. Good vehicles. And I'm driving the Equinox, but they handle the Corvette, the Equinox, Silverado, Traverse, or Tahoe. Corvettes, they are a certified Corvette specialist dealer. You want service done, their service department can do any vehicle, and they do a great job. Great guys in the service department. I went down to meet them. New and pre-owned vehicles, also a big part of it. Up to $14,000 savings available, 0% APR available for up to 60 months. So many good things at Thomas Chevrolet, 1263 West Baltimore Pike. Give them a call, 610-566-8600, or visit thomaschevy.com. And Piazza Property Pros, another fine partner of the program. You got to start thinking about the summer. I know it's so cold. All you're thinking about is how damn cold it's going to be. And I get it. And it is going to be cold. However, you've got to understand that you've got to prepare. You really have to prepare for the summer. And if you want a pool, you better start thinking about it now and prepare to get your work done. And the vision that Piazza Property Pros can have with what they can do with your property is really amazing. 25 years of experience, top-notch craftsmanship, good people. They don't subcontract. So trust Piazza Property Pros. Here's a number, 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation. That's 610-566-2608 or piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. We do have some people on the line. Let's go to them, Joe. All right. Okay, let's go to Joe. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hi. As they would say in the UK, in a beautiful morning, Howard.
Yeah, right. Yes.
One benefit of this kind of cold is when I take the puppy out, she does her business very quickly. So stay out there all day.
Well, hey, listen, dogs don't get cold. You know what? I have a lot of deer in my area, and deer have their fur and their skin is insulated because they're out in the cold all the time. It's amazing how they're built.
I get it. On some mornings, I have 15 deer in my backyard.
Yeah,
So
I know. I get a lot of them. So, all right, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked earlier. Do you have, or how much lack of confidence do you have in the Eagles this season?
Oh, I think they're going to win maybe 6 games if they're lucky.
Oh my gosh, that would be. Oh man, this town will go nuts.
Oh,
We'll
I
go
know.
nuts.
I think the well, I'm concerned. I think Landon Dickerson is. If
I
were
don't know
him,
if he's coming
I'd
back.
be
Lane
fine.
Johnson's going to come back, but Landing is so banged up every year. I don't know if he's going to come back. That is a question. And if he does come back, he's always banged up, and he's a tough son of a gun. I give
He
him
is.
credit. He gets hurt and he goes right back out there and plays. It's just no.
Imagine if you had guys like that in the NBA.
Well, the NBA, the NBA is a joke. Players take to think that Michael Jordan, who is the best, that's why LeBron James should never even be considered in the top 5 of players of the all-time greatest player. Michael Jordan played 9 straight years, every game and every playoff game. 9 straight years, every regular season game and every playoff game. These guys
All
do
those
that
guys
today.
are like that. Larry Bird, Dr. J.
Well,
Well,
that's why I don't think LeBron James is in the top 5. And Mike, Wilt played every game, averaged over 48 minutes a game one year. The game wasn't. It was physical, but not as physical. But I don't care. I mean, that's because they played overtimes. Then you have Wilt. Michael Jordan's the best. Then Wilt. I'm just going to name 5. Oscar Robertson had a triple-double when they just don't hand out assists for nothing. He averaged a triple-double. He averaged a triple-double. Then you have Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan. All those players are ahead of LeBron James as the greatest players in the history of the NBA. LeBron can hang around. What's that?
I'm old enough to have seen the Big O play in person.
Yeah, well, I was young when I saw him. It was not in his, I don't remember him with the Cincinnati Royals was the team I guess he started with. But I remember him, he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, if I remember correctly.
My dad took me down to the convention center to see the Sixers and the Cincinnati Royals. So,
wow.
He was just, he was
yeah.
awesome.
So he's not even in the conversation for the top 5. LeBron James, not even in the conversation. So
my thought, your question was going to be, how does Daryl Morey have a job? And I heard his press conference yesterday driving in the car, and you're correct. I almost drove off the road because I fell asleep.
You had to be careful of falling asleep. It wasn't even nighttime.
No, I mean, I don't know how he has a job.
Well, I got to answer that question for you. He's the best con man ever in the NBA. Sam Hinkie, we figured out. He was just trying to pull one over, and it was just a Ponzi scheme for him. But Sam Hinkie was, but he didn't portray himself as being brilliant. Where Daryl Morey portrays himself as being brilliant, and he's clueless. He's a terrible general manager. And he's a conman, but he's a good conman. And he got an extension. What did he do to get an extension except con the owner, who doesn't have the first clue how far the foul line is from the basket in the NBA or in basketball? I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Josh Harris should sell the team.
He won't sell it until probably the new arena is. I guess the new arena is built, because then it'll be worth more, and they're 50-50 with Comcast or Xfinity or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you got to get him out of there. I'd love to see the his emails between him and Jeffrey Epstein. There's hundreds of them.
I have. You just go on I put a lot of names in there.
Okay, so what did you? Anything? Interesting, let's say.
Well, the fact that he's not describing any nefarious activities with certain certain people.
All right.
But
did he talk about a
website? Go to the DOJ website, and there's a search function. Just put his name in.
Okay. Did he?
I put your name in, Howard. You're not in there.
Oh, okay. The WikiLeaks. I was in an email WikiLeaks with one guy was investigated, and I was a friend of his. He was the president of Sony Pictures Television, and just we were friends. So I was remember WikiLeaks back
Yeah.
then? Yeah. So I was in a couple of emails for WikiLeaks, but I wouldn't be in there with Jeff Epstein.
Neither am I.
No. So, all right. So my next question, has the Phillies window for a World Series passed?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry to be a negative Nelly this morning, Howard, but
do the Sixers have any chance of even getting to the NBA Finals with Paul George and Joel Embiid?
I have a better chance of going out to a dinner with Kate Middleton than the Sixers have and making the NBA Finals.
It puts it up there. I mean, it's unbelievable. And the Flyers, if they get a scorer, I still think they're going to win a championship before anybody else, any of the other teams. The next team to win a championship before, but they got to get a score. It's just, they got to get a score.
I said it before. I'll say it again. That Comcast needs to sell the Flyers. I mean,
yeah, but it's not that they let the people that run it. I mean, they have a good coach. Danny Briere's a good general manager, and Keith Jones oversees that. I like all those guys. I think will do a good job.
They have that Russian guy, and they're not getting anything out of him. Mitchkov.
And like, you know what? Not every trade or not every player that you think is going to be the guy, but they got to find a scorer. And, I think they're going to find one, but obviously now it's not going to be until the offseason. So We'll see what happens. All right. Hey, Joe, you have a great weekend. Do you have any interest other than betting the Super Bowl? Do you have any interest in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I have a.
Yeah, we'll watch it. I mean, but it's not the same energy.
I don't bet. I'm not a bettor, Howard. I don't bet.
Oh, okay. And I bet you really loved that not Pro Bowl game the other night.
Flag football?
And they're not even Pro Bowlers. They take guys because nobody wants to go anymore. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Joe Flacco's had a great career, but he's not a Hall of Famer this year. And Jalen Hurts was the 5th alternate. That means the starters and 4 other players had to turn them down with going to the Super Bowl.
I have a
Pro Bowl.
I have a suggestion to the NFL for the Pro Bowl. The team should be made up from Radio Row. I'd rather watch that than watch NFL players play flag football.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Hey, Joe, you have a great weekend, and thanks for joining the show. Thank you. All right, take care. It's amazing. I see. Actually, I want to give a shout out. Mad Dog Chris Russo, who works on Sirius Radio, was at the New York station, the sports talk station up there. He gave me a shout out when he was on as a guest on the Dan Patrick Show. One of the first guys to do Radio Row, and I text with Chris the other day. It was yesterday or the day before. I was texting with him. He says, "You were a pioneer. You are one of the pioneers in sports talk radio. I still love it. Still enjoy doing what I'm doing. And, I'm better than a lot of the guys that are on the air now, but I don't know that I want to do 4 hours every day, because now, sports talk radio is just a lot of bullshit. There's very little facts. There's no desire to get the facts correct and the information correct. It's just good cop, bad cop. And I don't know that I'd enjoy it like I enjoyed it before. You can entertain with facts. And it's obvious that, the 2 sports talk stations in town are just, and, radio is a dying business now anyway. So it's just, there's not the same. I mean, I think my son works hard, but it's just not the same talent that you used to have in sports talk radio. It's just because people don't have to be. You just throw out nonsense, and nonsense where it gets old real quick. I see a comment here that I'm being too hard on Daryl Morey, and he's saying this sarcastically as you read this. He only trades for players that put the fear of God in other opponents. He's horrible. La jackass isn't even in my top 5 for all-time NBA. He's not legit. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. He really is a fraud, and he so craves attention. But Daryl Morey is terrible, but he's good at really one thing. He's the best con man in NBA as a general manager. He is the best con man, the best. All right, Daryl Morey. There's nothing about what he did in his news conference the other night. One of the things he said, and I'm going to play a soundbite from him. One of the things he said is that Sixers are as good as, they're in a mix with a few other teams. Really? In the conference, they're not better than Detroit. They're not better than the Knicks. They're not better than the Celtics. They're not better than the Cavs. And somebody else will beat them in the playoffs. It's such a fraud. It's just that, the teams stink. We've had a good run lately, you said. Good run. Good run. You played the Clippers when they didn't even want to show up because James Harden was going to be traded, and it was close to the trade deadline, so they didn't even show up. You played Golden State without Steph Curry, and you lost to a bad Lakers team, and you're playing bad teams. Give me a break. They're beating teams that they should beat because those teams suck. All right, here's a comment from Daryl Morey, kind of addressing a couple of things. Let's hear from the biggest con man and the best con man in NBA history, Daryl Morey.
Yeah, we like our chances in the East. We feel like we're in the mix with the top teams there. Obviously, we got to prove that on the court. But yeah, I'm just reiterating. Yeah, we were hoping to add and we didn't add. So, but we still believe in this team. Like, it's still the team that people believed in. Folks have speculated on the improvements of our East competitors. I don't see it personally. I think all the teams, made moves at the deadline, but there weren't any needle movers in my opinion. So.
Aaron, you talked about right now you feel like you're so high on McCain. Did you guys lose a little bit of faith in him?
I wouldn't say that. No, I think he has a tremendous future. I think, look, if you look, obviously, sort of the tell of people who don't like the deal, they'll leave off the whole return, minimize this draft, which we think is good, things like that. I'm not saying you personally, Keith. I'm just saying if folks who don't like the deal, they'll minimize. That return is for a starter quality player on a good team. It's actually above that. We do a lot of analysis on, how we think things will play out both here and around the league going forward in terms of the quality of play, what kinds of returns will return, what players in the future. And the bottom line is Jared's a player who is a great future bet and a great potential great player. And we wish him luck. We feel like this return sets us up better to set up the team in the future better. That doesn't address our team now. So we did want to add now, and it didn't happen. So I think that's a fair.
Let me just say something. He traded a player that was a first-round pick, and the team didn't get better, and he thinks it was a great trade for the way it set up the team. They got a first-round pick from Oklahoma City, which will be one of the last two probably in the first round, which is really basically a second-round pick. They got a bunch of second-round picks. I mean, that was a snooze fest. And it's just such BS. Oh, my God, it's just such BS. They traded McCain for nothing. And, I don't know that he's more than a bench player because he doesn't fit. He doesn't fit because you would have, even before they got EdgeCom, they had two small guards. You can't have two. First of all, there's little defense played in the NBA anyway, but you had two small guards. All right. Let me give you, first of all, let me just tell you, I will post probably later today, my picks for the Super Bowl. And I got some prop bets there. I got like 8 prop bets plus the game and the total. And your donation, same donation as during the season, even though there's a lot more there. really benefit Brandywine Valley SPCA, all kinds of events at Brandywine and all kinds of events at Providence Animal Center. And your money, your donations go to helping out the dogs and the cats and everything that's good about helping all these animals to find homes. And they all have events. So it is important for them. And, just have a little fun. So, and it's a small donation, but thanks if you are one of the people that have supported that all year. But that will come up. Let me see some of the comments here. Why are we talking so much about the Sixers? I wouldn't give them 5 minutes on the show. The NBA is really lousy. Well, I'm just pointing it out. The trade deadline came up, and there's still people out there that are delusional. That was Herb that asked that question. People are still delusional that the Sixers have a chance. They're in the mix. Darryl Morey, what do you say? They're in the mix in the East. In the mix for what? In the mix to get knocked out in the first or second round? It's a joke. I mean, Detroit, no. Knicks, no. Celtics, no. Cavs, no. Why we talk? And the NBA does suck. It's 3 points or a dunk, and then you get the players to mug for the camera. Isn't that wonderful? It's just a bunch of crybabies. It's terrible. It is bad. But I brought it up. We did talk about the Phillies, the Eagles. A lot of questions there. A lot of questions. Lane Johnson, I understand, will be back. Landon Dickerson will be an interesting choice because he's always hurt. But they lost too many coaches. The players aren't as good as they were in previous years. A new offensive coordinator, I don't think, is going to change some of the things that especially if the especially if the offensive line isn't as good. Barkley's older, still a very good back, but a lot of different things there. All right. My question to win this week's prize would be, and it's a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate, submitted to my contact page at howardeskin.com by midnight Tuesday, February 10th. We'll announce the winner on the show. Winners will be selected at random from the people that submit the correct answer on X, Twitter. I still call it Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. You're notified as soon as the show comes on live, and easy to find it on all these social media platforms. We're also audio-wise on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Music. And as I said, the winner will be chosen at random. What was Mark's favorite prop bet? His favorite prop bet. What was his favorite prop bet? And you answer that question correctly, and you're one of the correct answers. You'll be selected at random, and you'll win a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. So at least you can eat well. All right. I want to thank everybody that joined the show. Sorry for the power outage in the middle of the show, but everything is terrific now. I have a generator, so it happens in my area, and you'll live with it. Thanks to my partners, and that would be my presenting partner, Stillwell Financial Advisors. That would be Thomas Chevrolet, and that would be Piazza Property Pros. All a very, very important part of this show. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks to Joe Gangemi for the technical part on the other side. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for helping out with the graphics and the websites and all those other good things. And thanks to you for riding with the King on this Saturday, live on this Saturday morning, but you can watch it anytime. Thanks to you for riding with the King. Thanks, and have a great weekend. Stay warm.
Yes, K-I-N. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control. From the link to the X, from the Sixers to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the story. riding with the king.